Welcome back to Wilson Field as Chapman Lacrosse prepares for their first game of the season. The rivalry continues as Chapman gets a chance to turn the tide here at Ernie Chapman Stadium. My name is Holden Buckley, joined by my color commentator Lindsey Johnson. Lindsey, what are you expecting out of today's game? How are these two teams going to match up in this one?
I think today is going to be a really interesting game down here at Wilson Field. As you know, this is the first year in several years where Chapman has not been in the top 20 of the MCLA standings. So, you know, that's been posted up in their locker room. That's, you know, Coach Callis is trying to use that to really hype up all his teammates, all the players, and just get them to really, you know, be one and get that energy up to try to fight up against that rivalry they have against UC Berkeley. So it's going to be interesting to see how UC Berkeley, their best specialty is really their face-off abilities, and with, you know, Chapman, it's really those attackmen that are really able to carry the team.
And neither team can afford any Friday the 13th scaries in this one. Both teams tended to struggle last season in one-score or two-score games. Both teams knowing that they could have performed better. And looking at this team comparison, I'll give it to Lindsey.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how these teams, you know, were honestly pretty similar last season. We had the Golden Bears with a 6-7 record and Chapman Panthers with a 5-8 record. But starting off the beginning of this season, we have a little bit higher spirits from the Golden Bears, even though they're just coming off of that loss against Cal-Berkeley. But in that game, they had such a high face-off percentage with about 80% face-off percentage, where Cal-Berkeley had right around 30. So it was a big discrepancy in seeing how, you know, even though they weren't able to come away with that win, they still had great statistics up on the board, which is going to be one thing that the Panthers are really going to have to focus on. They were able to beat San Marcos in a scrimmage 2 weeks ago, but still, you know, even though that they just won that game, it's going to be a tough matchup here on the field. So Holden, you know, looking at this tough matchup here tonight, how are the different coaches of these teams going to be able to lead them to greatness?
Absolutely. Joel Callis, his fourth year as the Chapman Panthers head coach, over 10 years in the organization as a whole. He's got an overall record of 30-15 and 2 conference titles under his belt. He felt a little blindsided by the poor performance last year after coming off of 2 strong seasons. So he's looking to rebound with this squad full of strong leaders, and he's going to be rolling with his seniors in this one. 5 graduating seniors on this roster. He knows what they've been through, and they're looking to make a big stamp on this season. Moving in to Cal-Berkeley's head coach, Ned Webster, his 12th season, 103-48 record, also 2 conference titles under his belt. A couple extra seasons for him gives him that privilege. And Ned Webster also blindsided, and he said humbled by last season and his performance. He was very unhappy with his lack of field time and preparation last season. He said he wanted guys to have that balance between academic and personal lives, but he just was not happy with his key word. He said balance.
And now
moving into, our first key player on UC Berkeley. Lindsey, take it away.
Sorry about that. Now we're seeing number 6, Nate Fredericks, the incredible junior from Oakland, California, who has just incredible statistics up on the board from his last season. He had 31 goals, 19 assists, and 19 ground balls. But, you know, even though he has a ton of accolades under his belt and is such an incredible player, you know, some of those accolades being 2024 and 2025 all conference attacks, it's interesting to see how so far this season it's been a little bit of a slower start than his normal pace. Whereas in that first game with Cal-Berkeley, he only had 1 assist in total. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Panthers are going to match up against his incredible abilities. And moving into the next dynamic player from Berkeley, we see the incredible goalie, Jack Wilson, the sophomore from Mendocino, who, you know, last year, he was a backup for most of the season, so he was only able to put 9 saves up on the board for himself. But look at that up here on the screen, folks. We see so far, with only 1 game in the season so far, he has put up 18 saves, already doubling what he had last year in total. So with that 69.2% save percentage, Jack Wilson is going to be an incredible force on the field tonight in comparison with that sophomore goalie matchup with the incredible Ryan Sugar for Chapman. Holden?
Yeah, talking a little bit more about Ryan Sugar, the Rookie of the Year last season, second-team all-conference goalie as well. He is an absolute force, a brick wall within the goal. he's been told that, yeah, being the rookie of the year, he's a sophomore, 5'9", a little bit undersized, but he put up 120 goals allowed against 199 saves, a 62% save percentage, and 6 ground balls on top of that. He is going to compare very well to a Cal-Berkeley offense who really struggled, and that was not what head coach Ned Webster was really expecting. He was expecting his defense to really struggle there, but of course, the sophomore goalkeeper, Jack Wilson, had a great game. But yeah, great matchup for Ryan Sugar, who's looking to really extend what was an amazing, amazing freshman season. Rookie of the Year material. He's going to be crucial for the Panthers in this one. Then moving on to our next Chapman key player, Adam McDonald. The junior attacker lost the 4 Musketeers to the top 3 goal scorers for the Panthers. All have either graduated or moved on to new teams. So Adam McDonald, the attacker, the junior, needs to continue activating in important games like these. He had 21 goals last season, 3 assists, 12 ground balls, and he got those 21 goals on 50 shots, so pretty effective from him. And then, of course, we're going to talk about it a lot this game. He hit a game winner in scrimmage versus Cal State San Marcos 2 weeks ago in overtime. He knows how to show up to the occasion, and he's the guy that the Chapman Panthers will look to in the final couple minutes to seal the game and give Panthers the win. Now moving on to my partner in crime, none other than our side reporter, Michael Herrera. Michael, what do you have to tell us today?
Holden, Lindsay, thank you guys for that introduction. Earlier today, I got the chance to speak to junior attacker Adam McDonald about his thoughts on the season opener, and take a look at what he had to say. Here with Adam McDonald. Adam, thank you so much for your time today. This year was the first time in 15 years that Chapman was ranked outside the top 20 when it comes to Chapman Club men's lacrosse. Does that give you guys a little bit more of a motivation, a little bit of an extra chip on your shoulder coming into the season?
Yeah, I definitely think it gives us some motivation and a good boost into the season. You know, my freshman year, I was a part of the team that climbed all the way to #1 in the rankings. So I've been up and down, and you know, it's something that comes with a lot of respect, and you got it. But at the same time, you have to earn that respect. You know, we see it every day. We walk out of the locker room, we have the rankings posted, and that's kind of something that, you know, shows us, you know, that's the respect that the MCLA has given us and other teams have seen us as, and we want to show them who we really are and what we feel we should be at.
You've been with this program since your freshman year. You're now a junior. You've seen a lot of guys coming through this clubhouse. Now you're yourself, in your 3rd year, you're a junior. You're now the leader of this clubhouse. How can you take what you've learned from the past leaders, implement them to what really is a very youthful team?
Yeah, I think for us, you know, for me especially, it was from day one. You're a part of this team, no matter, you know, what grade you're in, where you came from, or anything like that. So I think, especially this year, you know, we had, I think, 7 transfers come in. We have a lot of promising freshmen that are going to be thrown under fire right away, and what we're really excited about. So I think my job as an upperclassman is just to really get that team chemistry going. Which, you know, if you get the locker room together, you know, you can do anything on the field.
Absolutely. Just one last question. Last time out against Berkeley last year, it was a great game. You only lost by 2 points, and those 2 points were lost in that final quarter. What can you take from that game last year and implement it to try to win this game today?
I think the main thing is just playing 60 minutes of lacrosse. We went up early in that game, kind of had control over the game for the first 2 quarters, and then 3rd quarter became tight, and 4th quarter they just wanted it a little more than us. So I think our motto this year is just play 60 minutes, play till that final whistle. I think our fall scrimmage was a great test for us against San Marcos. We were down the whole game, and that game ended up going in overtime, and you know, we ended up coming out on top, and I think that was a great push for us to play all 60 minutes and you know, really get over that last hump.
Adam, thank you so much for your time today. Good luck, man.
Shout out to ESPN.
Adam, this entire roster, the entire coaching staff, pretty much everyone and anyone involved with the Chapman men's lacrosse program is excited, they're eager, and they're hungry to get their season started. And I'm excited to watch it unfold with all of you at home. Lindsay, Holden, back up to you guys.
Thank you for your amazing insight, our very own Michael Herrera. We'll hear from him from time to time during this game, but what I want to talk about before we toss to our lineups is Chapman's matchup last season against Berkeley. Michael mentioned it a little bit there, but they lost 12-10, and they lost mainly due to James Dakin. He was a freshman at the time, the face-off specialist, and I would consider him the MVP of that game. He had 12 ground balls as a face-off specialist and an 82.6% face-off percentage. I think we're going to see most success for Berkeley come in the face-off category. Lindsay?
I totally agree with you. As we mentioned earlier, that incredible face-off percentage from that game against Cal Poly that Berkeley just had. So those are definitely going to be, and that's one thing that Chapman tends to struggle with, is to consistently be putting up that face-off percentage. So it's going to be interesting to see what that matchup will look like tonight compared to when we look at the senior leaders of this Chapman team who have had a 1-2 record against against Cal-Berkeley in their career. And right now it looks like we are getting ready to set up for the national anthem in just a few moments.
Welcome back here on CSBN. In case you forgot, my name is Holden Buckley. I'm going to be your play-by-play commentator for today, joined by Lindsey Johnson, and I'm about to go over our starting lineups for the first men's lacrosse game of the season. For Chapman, number 10, Shandon Hamamoto, number 12, Jake Cutler, number 13, Eric Torrey, number 17, Nico Orsino, number 20, Russell Wilkinson, number 28, Colin Sproul, number 31, Tyler Pandis, number 33, Adam McDonnell, and number 88, Brody Champion. On the Cal-Berkeley Bears side, number 2, Henry Brown, number 6, Nate Fredericks, number 9, Timmy Donatelli, number 21, Cooper Kennedy, number 29, Andrew Kaslow, number 30, James Dakin, number 32, Connor Testa, number 43, Ryan McAvoy, number 44, Phineas DeGuyer, and in the net for Berkeley is number 31, we talked about in pregame, Jack Wilson, the 6-foot goalie, his second year, looking to have a big game in this one. And then in the goal for the Panthers, number 23, Ryan Sugart, the rookie of the year. Great matchup for both teams as this game about to kick off with a face-off.
We're excited to see what these two teams are going to be bringing out here under the Friday night lights of Wilson Field. And as we mentioned earlier, Friday the 13th here. So it's going to be interesting to see, which team that'll really affect, if that little superstition, if you believe in that. So, we've been seeing a bit of higher hopes from Cal-Berkeley lately, but Chapman is coming off that win in their scrimmage. So we don't know where the cards will fall in this exciting game here tonight.
Usually I'd say the superstition benefits the home team, but both of these teams, it's almost like a sort of away game. Neither team really feeling confident yet in this season. Both teams just looking for a win. Cal, of course, we talked that big loss to that first game of the season. Really had to rely a lot on that defense to keep them in that one. But Chapman coming in with a lot of hype. You hope these Friday the 13th scaries scare the team that needs to have a big game back in the Cal-Berkeley Bears.
Now we see us setting up for this face-off with an exciting matchup between the face-off specialists of both teams.
We're going to talk about face-off specialist James Dakin, and of course he gets that one already off to a hot start. Berkeley, there's that long stick midfielder, number 31, Tyler Pandis, getting involved. A little bit of a scrim already. It's going to stay Berkeley ball.
Pandis early on showing that aggression that is, really notable for this Chapman team, and how they, really like to play with a lot of passion in order to try to elicit, as many fouls or things like that as they can from the opponent. And we see that early on with Pandis making that move right there.
Absolutely. Ryan Sugart starting in the goal for the Panthers. Berkeley is going to have to reset the ball a lot in this game. As here we see back out, number 6, Nate Fredericks, driving inside, zigs and zags past the defender. Nothing there, going to have to reset again. Panthers bench very happy about that one. Lockdown defense consistently. A little bit of miscommunication in the backfield there.
DeGoyer trying his best to work from the X and really establish that foundation in order to really soak up the clock and take time in the first part of this game. And we see it's, still scoreless at the moment, as we see Chapman's defense is tough on him.
Absolutely outside, almost went for it, gonna take a second. And the first save of the game goes to Ryan Sugart. Tries it again, not there. And that ball rolls all the way out back to midfield. Chapman defense hoping to get on it. They do, after the slide from number 13, Connor Kuzik, it looks like. Pardon, that was number 43, Ryan McAvoy. Couldn't get to that ball in time, and now the Panthers get a chance to put the first point on the board.
Incredible work from number 12, Jack Cutler, the sophomore business major from Englewood, Colorado. He's incredible with his 12 ground balls last season, and there he goes with another one. Incredible work from Cutler.
Englewood, very close to my hometown. A lot of solid lacrosse prospects out of those big schools in suburban Denver. As here we see Nico Orsino in the back, gonna reset again. Chapman, this is where they thrive, going underhand, but missing that one off to the left. And our first substitutions coming into the game.
Great work already with number 33, Adam McDonald, our star that we've been spotlighting since the beginning of this game, but unfortunately not able to make that connection in the back of the net. Just a little bit too much sauce on that pass, so it just goes right over for him.
We're going to see a lot of strong defense in this one. Expect a low-scoring affair at Wilson Field.
Bit of communication here, trying to figure out what's going on after that second penalty for Cal-Berkeley already early on in the game.
The first substitutions, Ben Carvalho in at the attacker position, what looks like. Chapman looking for anything to put them on top here. Going around the clock, just trying to find the right shot. It looks like they have it going up, not there. And Berkeley unable to hold on to it. First goal of the game. Oh my goodness. What a miscommunication by Berkeley.
That was incredible shot from number 2 for Chapman right there. The incredible work right there, and how, oh my God, Chapman was just able to get it in. Ethan Roselli, the new transfer from Concordia, just brand new on this roster for Chapman, already demonstrating his worth. As we saw in that play, how McDonald tried his best to just snap it in, but Roselli was able to pick it up right after him. So great work early on for Chapman, as we get a little bit of a tumble in the middle of the field here.
And that was just a display by James Dakin. Knocked the stick away from the Panthers. Surprised there wasn't an unsportsmanlike 60 seconds on James Dakin there. But the Panthers back with the ball.
James Dakin, that fire on the field, is just trying to, match that Panther energy and try to get a bit more passion out of him. Right now, coming off that first point, Dakin is making sure that he's proven his worth out there.
Could not agree more. There's number 32, Connor Testa, getting involved. Another nice save from the Panthers. 2 solid saves from Ryan Sugart.
Incredible work from Sugar right there, how he's just continually able to make save after save despite the tough, and incredible work right there, as I was just mentioning, that tough attacking we see from UC Berkeley, and number 5 for Berkeley just missed it once again right there, and Sugar was just able to defend as he was unable to connect right there.
Yeah, Luke Dumont, a little bit too much speed on that one. Of course, we know UC Berkeley is going to come out with a lot of fire on this one. Just got to try to contain it. Let these players play to the best of their abilities as long stick midfielder there. And number 33 just gets a little bit gapped. Nick Fendler unable to corral that one back in. And the Panthers bench happy with how that play turned out, giving the Panthers another shot.
That was definitely a penalty right there, as we saw number 33, a flag was thrown for number 33 on Berkeley, as he was just basically running over the Chapman player right there. It's just, those kinds of moves are definitely not allowed in the lacrosse when you're just completely encroaching on the other's territory, as we saw number 33 just completely dominating over Chapman right there.
Panthers going to start it off with number 5, Rocco Reginelli. Back out. They've been liking this. The around-the-clock action. Berkeley defense didn't bite there. Got the steal. Ground ball. And now it's a sprint for Berkeley. Number 2, Henry Brown. Had to pass that one away. Didn't want to risk the offsides. And then back out to Seth Jordan off the bench. He's going to prove important at that midfielder position. Avoiding the offsides there.
Incredible work from how Henry was just able to navigate quickly around Reginelli, as you saw Reginelli just had that ball snaked away from him and was sprinting, and that's one thing, is Reginelli is one of those players who is just so quick on the field, but we saw Brown was able to still navigate away, as we see some substitutions are being made now.
Yeah, that was a couple plays in a row that we just saw Berkeley really struggle with shooting so far. But that one, miscommunication, trying to get on it, not in time. Berkeley does have to retreat here, going to reset with their goalie. But yeah, just a couple shots with too much fire on them for Berkeley. I think they're taking the right shots, just maybe not at the right time and maybe not with the right power.
And on that note, we see number 6, Nate Fredericks, returns to play, as he was subbed out just a few moments ago. And he's one of those top scorers for Berkeley that, really is going to be a pivotal point in this game with, Shandon Hanamoto is going to be that defenseman for Chapman, who's going to be hot on him with power versus power right there. 2 incredible players, but Fredericks needs to step it up a little bit more in this game right now, as we see Chapman already has one on the board compared to Berkeley.
We saw just a silly offsides there. Berkeley just trying to play with fire, not really benefiting them in any way. But here we see Holden Walker, in the Skywalker, as his teammates call him, driving inside, passes it out. There's number 2, Ethan Roselli. Should pass this one away.
Holden Walker is a great player who's really able to be of such utility to his whole team. And there he goes with his 2nd of the game for Chapman. Ethan Roselli, that transfer from Concordia, already just proving his worth, showing Coach Callis why he was meant to be on this team. Roselli with just point after point. Here he is with all of the scores of the night being his.
Yeah, wow, just an amazing shot there. I think this is where we see some of that second-year goalkeeper jitters coming in. Jack Wilson, 2 savable balls in my opinion. The 6-foot goaltender played a very good game, but also against a team like Cal Poly, where they really had to rely on their defense. Defense hasn't really come to play yet for Berkeley. Berkeley needing to get a point on the board here for momentum purposes, as Chapman done a very good job. Berkeley able to get on that ball in time before the Panthers able to take control. Going to reset all the way in the back. Phineas DeGuyer out to Connor Testa. And there's Luke Dumont off the bench. He was a big producer for them last season.
DeGuyer, one of those great players who's able to just keep it in, and there we go for the team right now. Cal-Berkeley with their first one on the board.
Yeah, just what we were talking about. Luke Dumont had 6 goals last season, 15 assists, 14 ground balls, puts up his first of the season after taking 8 shots last game. He gets his goal that he's been looking for to start the season. Teammates super pumped for him.
Incredible shot right there for Dumont. And, you know, Berkeley really needed that right now. As it seemed, you know, they were really trying to, you know, turn that fire up, get a little bit more aggression out on the field right now, as we see that, you know, Chapman's really proving to be a tough opponent for them early on in this game, as we're already winding down to about halfway through the first period of action.
You see on paper, Cal-Berkeley's offense, especially last season, just looked so much more polished than the Panthers. They had a 278 points to the Panthers 227 points. And then Cal there just committed a pretty silly foul. Ref's going to talk about this one for a second.
Some great discussion being had here, as you know, almost calling for a replay at this point when stuff like this happens, as we see number 3 for Chapman stepping off the field. Number 13, Eric Torrey, coming back in to do that faceoff.
Yeah, that was Ryan Beach. Ref sort of dismissed him at first. Now another faceoff coming. See if Berkeley can get this one. They can't. Panthers coming away. Eric Torrey gets his first faceoff win. And Eric Torrey just gonna have to retreat here, gives it back out to his long stick midfielder, Shandon Hamamoto, one of those seniors that's gonna prove so important in this game. And to Nico Orsino.
Great work from Hanamoto right there. As you know, Holden was just mentioning, Hanamoto and Orsino are going to be some of those great senior team leaders that have just done so much for this Chapman men's lacrosse program. As it is only a club sport, you know, those two have really been great leaders for this team this year, as they're missing, you know, some of those really important seniors we've seen in the past, such as number 44, Dante DeColabus, who is just an incredible player for so many years for Chapman, but unfortunately is no longer playing for the team. So players like Orsino and Hanamoto are really stepping up for the Chapman team.
Keegan Sharapoom in the game. Another one of those transfers. For him to get comfortable within this offense, has picked off there by Cal-Berkeley. A wide open lane. The dive by number 12, Jack Cutler, isn't there, but Berkeley, luckily no fast break there. They're gonna reset. Substitutions coming in.
Incredible efforts from Cal-Berkeley, how they're able to just snake it away and be able to go the distance with being able to, you know, have those steals and try to get up to that goal. But I feel like on the other hand, what Chapman's doing best at this point is when they're, you know, near the goal, they're able to just snake it in and be able to bring that aggression closer to the goal. So I think that's what Berkeley's got to be able to figure out at this point.
Morgan Brower, yeah, just wasn't able to keep that ball to himself, and now Panthers have a wide open lane. That was number 15, it looks like Luke Sewell on that one, and gives it to Danico Orsino, the starter, able to break the ankles of a couple defenders, and then out to his partner in crime, Eric Torrey.
Orsino with that incredible juke move right there. We were just speaking about how players like Orsino are going to be one of those ones that we're going to have to watch, as last season he had 4 goals, 1 assist, and 32 ground balls. So he's, you know, really going to be one of those players to watch out for in this game, as we see an incredible shot for Chapman. A great goal right there for the team. What a game, folks.
Yeah, that was number 2, Ethan Roselli. Yeah, this offense really coming out firing so far. No issues. I think this is where you see how some of this doubt, some of these what you would call whiteboard or chalkboard moments for these Panthers just being undervalued like they have after coming off 2 incredible seasons last season, falling short, not making the playoffs for the first time in over a decade. It's been a struggle for the Panthers. So this one, they just want to come out hot, put as many points on the board, and force this Berkeley team to really rely on their offense that, again, only put up 6 points in their last one.
this game has been definitely one of wing play, as we've been seeing such tough pole matchups, you know, coming down to those ground balls. We've been seeing players like Nico Orsino and Connor Testa just frequently being matched up here, having to battle it out in those wings.
Connor Testa gives to Luke Dumont. Then Dumont gives back, give and go. Out to Connor Testa. Testa inside, back out to Phineas DeGuyer, who's forced back. Doesn't have a teammate open. Gonna try to take it himself, gives it outside. Luke Dumont back out to Connor Testa. Testa back to Nate Fredericks. One of those guys who Berkeley needs to rely on to be a playmaker, especially at this point in the game, finding themselves down 2.
Incredible work from number 16, Lucas Losi, on that defense. The way he was able to just encroach on Connor Testa right there made it a tough matchup, as Ryan Sugar is still able to take it away with the save, as we see the Chapman bench is just cheering in celebration.
Yeah, Ryan Sugar, right place, right time on that one. That ball just sort of bounced right off of his stick. And the Panthers keep possession here, looking for any sort of fast break movement. Substitutions coming in. Ethan Roselli back in the game.
Jack Cutler has just been, you know, the man on attack so far for Chapman. You know, McDonald's been coming in with those great shots, but Jack Cutler has just been such a utilitarian player, just being able to be there for his teammates and have those, you know, being great at building that foundation when you're so close to the goal. That's what's so great about players like Cutler.
Ethan Roselli inside, Holden Walker gives it back out, up and good! Number 17, Nico Orsino puts another on the board for the Panthers.
Second of the night for Orsino. And we see, you know, this is that incredible senior leadership that we were talking about earlier, Holden. How, you know, these upperclassmen are really having to step up, as so many of those senior leaders left just this past year with such a young team, so many transfers, so many new freshmen. It's team leaders like Nico Orsino that are going to be the ones to watch in this game here tonight.
He's also a senior, one of those guys that head coach Joel Callis talks about being the guys that saw through it all. He saw through those 2 SLC titles, and then he saw through one of the worst seasons that the Chapman Lacrosse team has had in quite a while. Of course, Joel Callis said this team could be 10-3 if they were able to put together a season where they don't lose all these 1-score games, 2-score games. They could really put together a name for themselves within the SLC and within the lacrosse world.
That was some tough defense from the Berkeley team we saw right there. It was number 25 with just such intense work right there. As we know, we were being called into a timeout. And so, you know, looking at the breakdown of these two teams right now, Chapman is up 4-1 on Cal-Berkeley. You know, this was not the outcome that I was, you know, thinking to happen right now as we're winding down on this first period of action. So, Holden, if you were Coach Webster for Cal-Berkeley right now, what would be some of the biggest things to focus on coming into the rest of this game?
I mean, I would just focus on your offense. It seems like every time Cal-Berkeley is resetting the ball, they're really struggling to find the right shot within their attackers. Honestly, I want to lean on Nate Fredericks. You know, he's the leader for this team. We mentioned him pregame. I know he only had 1 assist and 3 shots last game. They cannot see him get limited like that again. He was the lead goal scorer for the Berkeley Golden Bears last season. And then you want to lean on your other attackers too. Andrew Kaslow, I want to say his name more often. He had 1 goal in his last matchup. Going to need to sort of mimic that production. And then that third and final starting attacker, Phineas DeGuyer, 1 goal so far this season on 3 shots. All 3 of those guys, I want to see them get into those 2 or 3 goal marks, because this team needs to start building their offense. And of course, tightening up on defense. Surprised to see Jack Wilson giving up the goals that he's been giving. So if I was Ned Webster, I mean, I would just be telling these guys to stick to the basics, back to the fundamentals, back to what you practice in practice. I mean, it's so crucial for this team to be well-rounded, considering they don't really have an excuse at this point. I mean, they made the playoffs last year with that measly record. Coach Ned Webster sort of blamed it on that sort of lack of field time, lack of preparation. You want to go into your first and second games of the season with that. there's just no excuse for this Cal-Berkeley team to not keep this one competitive.
That makes total sense, Holden, where we see, so far in this game, Nate Fredericks has not been relied on as one of those team leaders within the past several seasons, but it could be just due to the very strict defensive program Chapman's been running.
And that one, McDonald, not there. Berkeley, another chance to keep this quarter close.
And as we were talking about earlier, looking back at the past couple incredible seasons of Chapman Lacrosse, where now we are missing that great team leader, Dante DeColibus. Looked like McDonald was taking a page from DeColibus's book right there with that great behind-the-back technique to try and switch up the Berkeley defense, but unfortunately was not able to convert.
And with the ball right now is Nate Fredericks, the 5'10 junior. Where will he be on this possession? Chapman has to keep an eye on him constantly. And there's Seth Jordan. Chapman gets the ground ball, running with it. Can they put up a 5th point in the first quarter?
It really looks like this, the defensive ship has just been so tight for Chapman here. They're really not letting Berkeley squeak away with anything, as Nate Fredericks is just being in constant guard. And we saw how right there, just Seth Jordan quite literally drop the ball, letting Chapman be able to take it away for the ground ball opportunity.
Yeah, there's Ethan Roselli. Can't retreat too far back. Back out. Long stick and too long. Berkeley with another shot. I didn't think that was necessarily the shot they should have taken at that point. Seemed like a little long. You want to reset your offense with about 1 minute and 20 seconds left. You can milk the rest of that clock. Try to put up a point within those last 10 to 15 seconds, as that one not there either. Chapman's going to get another shot at it. Reset all the way back out to number 0, Holden Walker. Walker driving inside and gets it to go! The Skywalker strikes again.
Incredible shot from the dynamic Holden Walker, who, last season also was putting up great statistics. One of those great team leaders for Chapman, constantly just there for the team. Holden Walker last season, he was able to do so much with his 13 goals, 3 assists, and 10 ground balls. And here he is with his first score of the season. Walker is ready for this season.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that's just so commended by his teammates just for his work ethic. And he's one of just those glue guys. I mean, bench players are so crucial in lacrosse. Head coach Joel Callis talked about he had a 42-man roster. That's 42 guys fighting for 9 roster spots. And driving inside, Berkeley needs to put up something in these last 50 seconds. It's just been a struggle for them offensively. Need to find their rhythm.
We see both teams almost seem to be scrambling right now, just trying to get those last-ditch efforts to get anything more up on the board. But, I agree, Holden. If I were you, I would have really been trying to milk the clock, as Chapman has been, not doing so far this period of action, but just really trying to take their time and work on building that foundation rather than just trying to snake it away quickly. But Berkeley's doing their best to do so right now.
DeGuyer resets back out. There's number 24, Owen Pettis. It's 8 seconds on the clock. Have to do something here. Up and inside, got to put in a shot. Off to the right. Another final last breath. Not there. Chapman 5-1 in the first quarter. This offense has came out firing, Lindsay.
This is incredible, Holden. And now, we're really looking at those MCLA preseason rankings, seeing that Chapman, was around the 80 mark compared to usually being in those top 20. But, that's not really what we're seeing. That type of energy is not what we've been seeing out on Wilson Field here tonight under these Friday night lights. It's just been so incredible to see this game, not really starting off the way we expected, but still a great matchup with great efforts from both of these teams.
And you have to be so happy as Joel Callis starting off your season at home. This is how you build momentum as a team. Starting 5-1 in this game, I think Chapman is going to be able to continue with their offensive production. Now it's just for them limiting Cal-Berkeley. I mean, they've almost hit Cal-Berkeley's goals in 1 quarter. So, I mean, Chapman just really coming out firing. Lindsay, what are you looking for within this second quarter to really put the Panthers up top and let them have a halftime lead that they can be proud of going into halftime?
I think that something the Panthers are just going to continue to do is really focus on those incredible attackmen. You know, we've really been seeing how McDonald and Cutler have been such great forces for this team, but other players like Nico Ursino stepping up in that senior position, able to take it away for Chapman. But I think the biggest thing for Berkeley is going to be able to work on that face-off percentage, as you know, the incredible Dakin just taking it away time and time again, but hasn't been able to convert in the way that he's been wanting to. And now we're seeing these great highlights where that great shot from Berkeley right there, the one that they were able to get up on the board, and that was what, you know, was able to give them that bit of fire to keep it going for the rest of this game.
Yeah, and oh my goodness. All that I can think about when I see this Chapman squad is swagger. They have so much swagger going into this one. 5 goals in the first quarter. Every time they score, it just seems like a new light is electrified in this offense. They want to get back into the playoffs and prove themselves within this very, very diverse and sort of open feeling lacrosse conference.
I agree. And, you know, if I was Joel Callis right now, I'd really be thinking, you know, hey, what a great team. These, you know, all these young men are just doing so incredible at doing so great for their team right now. Just, you know, and I feel like what's been so special about this Chapman team so far in this game is being able to simply have great teamwork. You know, that camaraderie really shows for them on and off the field. And we're able to see that really in this game tonight, how they're able to be there for one another, especially players we've been seeing like Ursino, Cutler, and Walker. You know, they've all been trying to get scores on the board for themselves, but also showing up for one another.
That was a big body move by James Dakin, able to win another face-off. But this offense still is needing to put the ball past midfield. Berkeley fighting in the middle. Got to get closer to the net. This Chapman defense just needing to reset here. Substitution coming in, number 55, Jake Escobar sees his first playing time of the game. It starts with a pass back out to number 22, Morgan Brower.
Berkeley's really trying their best to just, you know, hammer it in as close to the goal as possible, trying to go in the middle lane there and be able to just drive it in, trying to take a page out of Chapman's book. But, you know, once they get up close to the goal, that's what they're almost stuck in the mud, as we see that great attempt from Berkeley right there.
Yeah, Jake Escobar really thought he had that one. A solid shot, too. Surprised he just went a little high. We think we've seen that a couple times, either a little higher or a little to the left. I think they're just putting a little too much sauce on these attackers. But inside, broken up.
DeGuyer working right there, trying to get it around the X there, but unfortunately not able to convert, as Chapman is now setting up shop to get back in the offensive zone.
There's number 28, Colin Sproul, starting it off for the Panthers defense. Gonna come in so crucial in this second quarter, not letting Berkeley make up the lead that they've built for themselves. Shandon Hamamoto, the long stick, up and inside. And it's gonna be back, penalty on the Panthers. Berkeley, another shot.
Flag has been thrown, as you know, there's practical calamity here down in the two benches. Here are lots of, you know, roars from both of these teams, just trying to figure out what's going on, as Berkeley is now returning to, you know, be able to take a shot here.
We see Dumont at that midfielder position playing a little high here, and up and inside is Owen Pettis. Owen Pettis gets it to his teammate. Andrew Caslow. Going around the world here, looking for the right shot. I think that's something that they've talked about a lot. Luke Dumont hesitates, brings it back out to Connor Testa. And up, no good. Just another shot that I think they could have waited a little bit longer for. I mean, there's no shot clock in lacrosse. If you see the right shot, you take it, but you also have to remember to slow this game down. I think that's gonna be something crucial for Berkeley. I understand you're down 4 scores, but you really need to start slowing the game, you're just making it so hard on yourself when you continue to give Chapman possessions. If you're gonna shoot, you have to make sure it's completely the right shot and it's at the right time.
I completely agree. And, you know, it's so interesting to see how that Chapman has really been able to build that great foundation whenever they're right by the net, being able to force those connections and really build that network in order to find the perfect slot to just get it right in the back corner of the net. As we see right here, you know, Berkeley setting up shop once again, but under the direction of, you know, Ned Webster, the incredible coach who came out of the boys Latin school, one of the most prestigious high schools in, you know, the whole U.S. for lacrosse. So he has some great expertise under his belt. So it's interesting to see what kind of strategies they're, you know, putting into effect at this point in the game.
And inside a little too long. Panthers able to make another defensive stand. I think someone we just haven't talked about enough is Ryan Sugar to start this game. I mean, only giving up 1 goal, possibly in this first half if he's able to continue with this production. I mean, it's exactly what you would expect out of someone. And he hasn't really been challenged too much either. But even when he has been, I mean, this could easily be a 3-5 or a 4-5 game had he not really continued his production from last season. And again, we'll talk about it all season. There are players on this team who believe Sugar could be a D1 or a professional lacrosse player in his future. He's got so much promise, even being undersized at around 5'9".
Now, one thing about this game, you know, Ryan Sugar is such an incredible player, but one thing about this game is, you know, pretty remarkable amount of flags already. I think we've seen 3 so far in this game. So, you know, it's been pretty intense, and I feel like, you know, both of these teams are getting a little bit too aggressive with showing their passion, showing how much they really want this win, where, you know, Berkeley coming off that loss to Cal-Poly, and Chapman with their first game of the season trying to prove themselves to get back in those 20, you know, under 20 in the rankings. You know, it's really interesting to see how that aggression is being put into play on this field here tonight.
Tyler Chrisman into the game. He had 5 ground balls last season. He's got to score a goal. He's one of those midfielders going to be crucial for Berkeley to reset, make the right play. Panthers get another possession. They're really just working these defenders. I think they're doing exactly what Cal-Berkeley is not, and that's just really waiting for the right shot, and that one hits the turf right in front of goalkeeper number 31, Jack Wilson.
What's been interesting is I feel like, you know, a lot of the shots that we've been seeing from, you know, the Chapman Panthers aren't from, you know, your typical front attackman. You know, we've been seeing those shots too from Ethan Roselli, one from Ursino, one from Walker. But, you know, we're seeing Cutler and McDonald up there, you know, right by the net. But unfortunately, they haven't been the ones that have really been able to convert that much so far in this game.
Here's Champion. Almost looked like he had a lane there. He's going to wait in his spot. Gets back to Champion. Champion sees his spot, almost goes for it, doesn't, gets it knocked away. Just can't have eyes in the back of his head there. Berkeley, another shot. Chasing after is Adam McDonald. McDonald just trying to poke that ball away. A long stick there. Connor Testa able to come away with that one. Giving it back to Luke Dumont.
Lots of substitutions being made during this game, as I feel like, you know, if I were one of these players, I'd be getting burnt out left and right with their incredible aggression. Another save for Sugar right there, as we see number 4 for Chapman is still able to retain possession of the ball, running it downfield, taking a page from the book of Cal-Berkeley right there, able to just drive it on up as close to the goal as possible.
That was Anthony Mills, another one of those key bench pieces. Really display of athleticism coming away with that ball. Seems like just nothing is going right for Berkeley.
One thing to note, Anthony Mills and Tyler Pandas both recently recovering from injuries. You know, they've already, you know, we've been seeing Tyler Pandas starting off this game with great, you know, fire on the starting lineups, and now Mills with that incredible move right there. We've been seeing these people, you know, right off their bench and right off of being injured, able to come back with a strong vengeance in this game.
And that one way too long from number 12, Jack Cutler. Berkeley, another shot here.
Berkeley's going to, I think, as we've been mentioning so far, Holden, but right there, they just disprove what I was about to say. I feel like Berkeley really needs to just take the time by the goal and really be able to find their network, find their connections to just really establish communication with one another. But, I think it's interesting that, Chapman really seems to have a lot better communication on the field so far in this game than we've been seeing from Berkeley, as we see Holden Walker taking it away with the ball with great speed.
So many of those missed opportunities are coming on passes, not even attacks. I mean, just long passes by both teams, and then 2 possessions squandered. Ball is back in the Chapman Panthers' hands. Ben Carvalho back in the game.
We're already about 7 minutes into the second period of action and no score within these past 7 minutes. So, as you've been mentioning, Holden, both of those teams are at a bit of a standstill with those missed long passes. So it's going to be interesting to see how they can try. And there we go, snaked it away. Another behind the back technique for Chapman right there.
That was number 6, Tate Wardell. Another bench goal for the Panthers. It is 6-1. Chapman at home to start the season. Incredible work by Tate Wardell wearing number 6. Holy cow, Lindsay.
What a remarkable game. As we've been noting, of course some of these players are so great at making goals, like Nico Orsino, Holden Walker, but a lot of these players who are new to this team and, coming off the bench, it's been great to see how they've been putting their best effort in this game tonight, and they've been the ones to get their name on the score sheet for this game, as we see an intense block from number 6 from Cal-Berkeley right there as a flag flies high. Number 6, Nate Fredericks, with that tough block, eliciting a flag right there.
Yeah, just another opportunity for Chapman to maintain their lead. Going to see a lot more dead time here. Chapman, of course, they want to keep putting up goals, but they're going to play this a lot slower. No shot clock in college lacrosse, so it'll be interesting to see how they kill this clock. There's Eric Torrey out, unable to bring that high pass in. It's Jack Cutler.
Yeah, unfortunately, so far, this has not been the game, season starting so far for Nate Fredericks. As last game, he only had 1 assist, and so far, he has not been able to put anything up on the board for himself in this game and just had that pretty intense flag against him. So I think, it's really about just trying to utilize Nate Fredericks and it's really about what the rest of the team can do to get more from him. And it's a great score from Chapman right there, wrapping it around the goal post.
My goodness, it's just goal after goal after goal for the Panthers. You have to wonder when it'll stop. I mean, we're just seeing so much energy coming at this side. That was number 48. I didn't catch it live just because everybody's moving so fast, but that was 48. Keegan Charaboom, one of those transfers. So many transfers already making a huge statement in this one.
Earlier this week, Holden and I got the chance to talk with, the sophomore Ben Bauman, who was sharing with us that this really is going to be the season about the freshmen and the transfers. Seeing that new power and all these new faces on this team is really what this season's going to be about, and that's the definition of what we've been seeing in this game.
Faceoffs continue to go Berkeley's way. Does it matter? The Panthers really capitalizing off all these ground balls, all these turnovers committed, and almost gave that one away. It was number 21 on the Cal-Berkeley side, Cooper Kennedy, able to keep it with Berkeley. Defenders everywhere, has to pass this ball away, can't find his man, and it goes to goalkeeper Ryan Sugart.
That was incredibly tough defense that was on Cooper Kennedy. Cooper Kennedy, my partner in our AP Gov class, as we see some intenseness in the middle of this field here as another flag flies high. I think it's about 5 or 6 so far in this game so far.
Yeah, usually when you see a 7-1 score, it means a lot of flags. Players going to be playing with a lot of passion, whether you're holding on to that lead or whether you're facing it. Really tough for both of these teams.
Unfortunately, it looked like right there that, Cooper Kennedy was getting just completely swallowed up by the Chapman defense. As, Chapman, we've always noted that it's really been their attackmen that have been carrying, but I feel like in this game, it's really been their defense. Their defense has been such an incredible point of this game, especially in how they've been able to just completely block Nate Fredericks. You know, this game, we've really been seeing Chapman's team seems very well-rounded all around.
Could not agree more, Lindsay. And we're going to hear from our sideline reporter, Michael Herrera. Michael, what do you have to tell us about this game so far?
He's back in the game now, but if you missed it for a while there, number 17, Nicholas Orsino, was out of the game, but it wasn't because of injury. It was the aggression of Cal-Berkeley that caused his absence. His stick actually broke. They spent a while fixing it. He's back on the field now, but just going to show and emphasizing the aggression by Cal-Berkeley. And you don't want to play too aggressive. Aggressive can teeter into desperation, but maybe that's what Cal-Berkeley needs to get back in this game. Down 6. Chapman is thriving right now. It's electric on the sidelines. We're going to see how this game continues.
A broken stick, you don't see that too often, but hasn't seemed to hamper the Panthers as Nick Orsino is back in the game. Inside, Berkeley reset round the clock. There's number 32, Connor Testa. Testa gives, strong stick and too high.
Berkeley now really trying to establish that great foundation that we've been seeing that Chapman has been able to do so far in this game. And, you know, we see that they were really able to try to soak up the clock and find the best, you know, lane to get in order to make that shot, as number 24, Owen Pettis, was the one that was able to just snake it away and try to make it, but unsuccessful still.
Yeah, so much power, another one way too high. Panthers just continue capitalizing on this strong attack from Berkeley. Substitutions coming in quick. Panthers looking to make the most of the 5 minutes on the clock. A lot of game remaining for Berkeley, but what an offensive, just an amazing offensive sequence on top of another big body by number 34. Oh my goodness, Patrick Subry bodies a man in midfield.
Now, Holden, I think we have to know this game is like getting pretty funny at this point. It's just so beautiful to see this magic in the sidelines and on the bench for Chapman and UC Berkeley. How Chapman was just able to just completely celebrate as we saw Sabri able to just take away that Berkeley player without getting any flag or penalty elicited.
Here's Berkeley once again. They just have to keep slowing this game down. But it just seems like the shots that they're taking aren't really going close. They're just a little too high, and this one goes inside, back out, hesitates, inside, poked away, stays with Berkeley unless got number 4 by the Panthers, Anthony Mills.
Anthony Mills off that injury, how he was able to just take it away right there. And you see, I feel like Berkeley honestly had a pretty open shot right there, able to just, you know, pretty easily take it away, but Mills with his incredible defense, able to take it away and then swipe away that ground ball just right in the X there. Anthony Mills, time and time again, proven his worth in this game tonight.
As you see there, just some physicality going up. The flag is down. We'll see who it benefits here in just a second.
Folks, despite a score of 7-1 on this game, if you're looking for an exciting game of lacrosse, I would definitely be tuning into this one. We've been seeing, you know, just that increased physicality and, you know, not in an incredibly bad way, but just the way that these players have been able to really try to juke each other out has been what's really keeping all of us as an audience on our toes.
Absolutely right. We'll see how Berkeley is able to come back in this second half. I mean, I can only imagine the locker room chant that's going to go down between Ned Webster, the 12th year coach, and this team who's just struggled to find any sort of personality in this one.
I think the only thing the Chapman locker room could be saying during this halftime is, you know, we're so back. I think that's all they can be saying with, you know, the pretty dismal preseason rankings for them, but seeing this power in this game and just that shot missed from Berkeley again, see, Chapman must, be feeling pretty good coming into the second quarter of action.
Absolutely. There's Luke Dumont, another one blocked. Ryan Sugart, another beautiful block. Ryan Sugart gives the first down, and Chapman, oh my goodness, another possession by Berkeley, resulting in no points. Ryan Sugart, top of the world in that goalkeeper position.
This Chapman bench is just absolutely ecstatic, as it almost seems, there's like a magical wall of ice in front of Ryan Sugart right now, as he's just, completely just save after save, just a wall of defense. It's impenetrable.
I almost thought Carvalho there. I mean, he scaled the entire field. I almost thought he was going to go right for the goal. But Chapman just going to reset, kill a little bit more of this clock. 2 minutes and 30 on the clock. Making the right moves, driving inside. Gonna back up a little bit out to number 2, Ethan Roselli. Roselli battling, gives it right back out to Nico Orsino. Orsino gets blocked and not able to get his own rebound.
What's been interesting about this game is, even though Chapman is just so ahead in points, we've really been seeing that most of this period of action has been kept in the offensive front for Cal-Berkeley. They've been the ones in control of the clock for most of this period, but, Chapman's just been the one who's been able to quickly been putting points up on the board.
Cal takes the timeout that they've been needing. I think when you're looking at the sports that Chapman is able to offer, lacrosse just sort of stands alone in what they've been able to accomplish over the last couple of years. I mean, no team for the Panthers has been able to pull in as many titles in their conference as men's lacrosse. I understand it's a club sport, but this lacrosse team just wants to return to glory. They've had so much success under head coach Joe Callis. Again, of course, they had that 2016 national title win. So much success to come, so many reasons to join this men's lacrosse team, and all they want to do is just make more of these statement wins and continue replicating these last couple seasons of play.
I completely agree with you, Holden. It's just so interesting to see how this men's lacrosse team is just a powerhouse for Chapman, and how time and time again, they are just going to conference title after conference title, but, it's just so interesting how their preseason projections were so low compared to years past, just despite the fact that, they have some freshmen and, some transfers, a bit of a new team makeup, but with the incredible guidance of Coach Callis, those team leaders, and just all of these players having such raw talent, that's really what we've been seeing in this game tonight.
Yeah, raw talent indeed. I think Joel Callis may have been understating just what these transfers mean to this team. So many of them stepping up in this one. And then, of course, I want to see the freshmen also get involved. Brody Champion, he's one of those attackers that's starting. I've seen him hesitate a couple times. Honestly, I was hoping to see even more freshmen come into this one. If Chapman's able to maintain their lead, I think we're going to see even more new faces scoring goals for the Panthers.
That's what we've been loving to see is, one thing about Coach Callis is, of course, he knows his team leaders, but one thing about him is I feel like he's really great at rotating to get everybody, a decent amount of playing time, a decent amount of, being able to prove themselves out on the field, and we've definitely been seeing that tonight. Setting up for just the last few minutes of this first half of action.
2 minutes on the clock. I mean, this is where maybe if you're Berkeley, you speed it up a slight bit, but can't go too fast, risk an 8th Chapman point.
That's been the thing, is really finding the rhythm for Berkeley. Is, of course, you think at this stage, you got to go fast to get more points up on the board, but whenever they go fast, that's when, the accuracy is thrown out the window, unfortunately. So I think it's really about setting up and finding that great routes of communication for them.
DeGuyer all the way outside, looking for any sort of shot here, signaling his offense to try to get anything. Stutter step inside, hesitates the pass, just gonna have to reset it back to Luke Dumont. Luke Dumont outside, and there's Owen Pettis, hesitates, gives it inside once again, gonna swing Not there. Chapman defense coming in clutch, taking that ball away. And a full reset by the Panthers once again. And 28, Colin Sproul ends up with it. And they have 53 seconds to work with unless something like that happens. Berkeley, another shot to try to put this half away, focus on their second half action. Here's Luke Dumont again. And substitutions coming in on offense. 32, Connor Testa, one of those starters.
That was just about a perfect play of defense for Chapman. And, you know, yeah, it's really been those attackmen that have been really carrying them in seasons previous. But right now we're seeing that it's almost their defensemen that are really the shining stars of this game, as, you know, they're just swarming whoever's trying to get near Ryan Sugar.
It's 44, Ben Carvalho gives it all the way back out. Luckily not intercepted. So much pressure. Panthers coming away once again. And a big Hail Mary downfield. Can the Panthers get on it? They can't. Bringing it in and redelivering the blow. Number 2, Henry Brown.
Such intense slash moves that we saw right there in those last 10 seconds of action. As, you know, Cal-Berkeley is doing everything in their power in these last few moments to try to get more points on the board, but we're unsuccessful, as right now we're still looking at 7-1 Chapman up on top of Cal-Berkeley. And wow, Holden, just all we can say is what a game so far.
Yeah, just talking about some of these top performers, and I just want to credit the goalkeeper, one of our key players in the game, Ryan Sugart. I mean, just continues time and time again to prove why he deserves a starting bid for his all 4 years at Chapman. I mean, this is a guy that you could almost risk leaving for another team if Chapman's not able to be competitive this season. But oh my goodness, Lindsay, I mean, any other highlights you want to touch on before we send it to half?
I would say just some of those biggest highlights of this game so far has been, you know, Ethan Roselli with those 2 goals just straight out the game. You know, the transfer, how he was able to really just shine in the first few moments, so incredible. And also Anthony Mills coming off of an injury, how, you know, he hasn't gotten a point up on the board, but has just had such incredible defense moves that have, you know, really aided Ryan Sugart and his incredible defensive wall.
Yeah, you have to credit Roselli. Every piece in this offense is just fitting together like a well-oiled machine. And let's take a look at this highlight reel. You see driving inside there, the only goal coming at the hands of number 32, Connor Testa. Since then, it's been all Panthers. There's that goal there by Brody Champion, the freshman, and then up and good. It's been a tale of freshmen and transfers like we've been talking about. It was number 0, Holden Walker, the Skywalker, getting it done. And there is number 44, Carvalho, getting his first goal of the season. Then driving inside, it's been all defense. And just unable to corral back in these balls is Berkeley. And Chapman just really able to capitalize on every single mistake.
And now, after those incredible highlights from this first half of action, we're going to be taking a look at Mike Herrera on the sideline with the incredible number 6 Tate Wardle, who's been such a great such a great player in this game. So, Mike, what do you have for us?
Guys, I've been around the sideline this entire game, and it's truly been one of the more explosive environments I've seen in a minute. And they certainly exploded when freshman here, Tate Wardle, got his first collegiate score. First of all, Tate, congratulations. How did it feel, man, to contribute in your first game in a blowout win? You guys got to be feeling good right now.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I mean, it feels wonderful. It feels amazing. You know, we have so many people showing out to the game. We came out hot. Ethan Roselli scored 2 goals. Our defense is playing amazing. I can't complain, you know.
Tate, keep it up, man. Congratulations once again. Go celebrate with the team, man. Good luck. It's been a great half so far. Again, just electric and explosive every single minute, every single second. Like Adam said before this game, they're trying to play 60 minutes of lacrosse, and they're doing a heck of a job of it right now. Lindsay, Holden, back up to you guys. Excited to see how this one closes out.
Just more amazing insight from our very own Mike Herrera. Yeah, Tate Wardle must be so happy seeing all these players, all these families in the stands coming out to support Panthers lacrosse. As a club sport, lacrosse always relies on these donations, loyal fans tuning in for every game, and they must feel so good about how the Panthers have started this season, Lindsay.
I totally agree. And, as we've been talking about this whole game, how, low those preseason projections were. But I feel like right now we're seeing how Chapman is really demonstrating how this team is doing so great right now. And they're coming up on a high. So going to this locker room, I'm sure this team is going to be so happy to see what the rest of this game is going to have in store for them.
Yeah, and I know after this one, those rankings might shake up a bit. But we'll see you after half as the Panthers with a 7-1 lead here on CSBN. And we're back here on CSBN as the Chapman Panthers have taken a 7-1 lead in their first game of the year. Lindsay, what did we see in that first half?
What didn't we see in that first half, Holden? This has been just such an incredible first half of action for Chapman where, of course, they've had their skill sets in the past few seasons, with strong attacks, strong face-off specialists. But, this game has just been so well-rounded with this team just, able to do so well all around. But on the Berkeley side, we've still been seeing strong attacks and strong efforts, just unfortunately unable to convert. So the rest of this game is going to prove to be a great one down at Wilson Field.
And if there's anything Berkeley has done super well so far this game is those face-off win percentage. I mean, Berkeley led by James Dakin. I mean, he was the guy that really put Berkeley on the map in terms of face-off percentage last season, and he did a lot more than that. He had 75 ground balls on top of his 141 face-offs won. It's gonna be a guy that they lean on as this offense trying to come out hot. Just to not let the Panthers pull away and end this game early. There's Morgan Brower out. Open lane, gonna hesitate. Pushing inside, not there. Almost poked away, it's up for grabs. Panthers have it for just a second, almost goes back to Berkeley's hands, gonna keep that ball away. Not sure why the Panthers didn't go for that one. And every ball is everywhere right now. Sugart, so worried that that ball is just gonna come a little too close.
Now that was so intense, and I feel like that set of plays right there was exactly what we've been seeing so far from this game all around. Just, these giant defensive balls of work right there, and just seeing who is going to come away with the ball. But we see Berkeley still able to retain possession. So, I feel like some conversations definitely must have been had during that halftime that, shifted them a little bit.
Phineas DeGuyer pass a little bit long, going up. Again, those high passes. I'm not sure if that's a practice, a preparation, or just in-game jitters, but we've seen so many high passes. So hard for these attackers to corral in those balls, and that's just been a consistent theme in this one. As Chapman another possession to extend their lead. Nico Orsino back out all the way to number, can't even tell,
I think it's 88, Brody Champion working in the X right there, who has, really been such a great player, who's able to just, consistently be there for his teammates. And, with one goal on the scoreboard so far this game, Champion is just, one of those star transfers that we've been really looking at during this whole set of plays.
Ethan Roselli looking to put a third goal on the board. He wants the hat trick. As an open lane comes, and a nice block by Jack Wilson.
It was an incredible shot from Holden Walker, a great attempt right there. But, I feel like that right there is something we've been really waiting to see from Wilson. As his last game, he had 18 saves against Cal-Poly. We've been waiting to see that incredible stick work that he's been proving so far this season.
I think why I couldn't see Brody Chapman all the way out there is they're playing pretty wide now. They're gonna wait, try to kill all the shot clock, and there, the bounce score by Brody Champion. Already has one goal on the night, couldn't get a second one.
Very interesting attempt right there, just trying to snake it in around the side of the goalpost, but unable to do so as the ball comes back in the hands of Nico, passing it over to Holden.
All the way out, Chapman. A new clock, 45 seconds on it. A lot of time to kill. So there's Holden Walker out. Inside Walker, nothing there. Thought about trying the long attack. Isn't gonna go for it. And then Brody Champion wasn't happy with that stick to the leg. Inside, up, blocked again. Right in the twine.
Incredible shot from Cutler once again. But you know, right now we're really seeing how Wilson is stepping it up. Whatever conversations were had with great Coach Webster during halftime was definitely worth it for Berkeley in order to get them back in, you know, more of a defensive groove, in order to, you know, really be able to have more of those saves, as we see who is just took a spill right there. I think that was Holden Walker just coming off the sidelines.
And there's going to be a penalty on that one. It looks like an offsides, benefiting the Panthers. Just some funky substitutions. It's going to be Panthers ball, and a really nice sidestep by number 6, Tate Wardell, the one who was interviewed before half. What a move.
Chapman, I feel like what's so great about them is they're able to be so crafty with their moves. How we feel like I've seen, you know, between Anthony Mills, Nico Orsino, and that great move from Tate Wardell, the three of them have been so great at their really quick footwork, you know, almost like happy feet, you know, just dancing around the field, getting ready to make a score.
Absolutely, and all the way back out to Rocco Reginelli. Reginelli gets some power, passes to his teammate, and a little high.
And one thing about Reginelli is I feel like he's really one of those players that's either really hot, or, you know, really just, you know, taking it smooth during a game. And I feel like in this game so far, we haven't seen too many appearances of him, as I feel like, you know, we're really seeing Coach Callis trying to utilize some of these newer members and get them more in the spotlight. But hopefully we'll see a bit more Reginelli throughout the game.
Spin move, not there. All these guys fighting for this ball right in midfield. Anyone's ball. Tripping and falling. Berkeley's gonna have it. A little bit of a mismatch. Driving upfield. Gives it back out. Here's the move. Unable to corral it back. This is number 5, Luke Dumont. It's gonna be back to Panthers possession.
What is happening, folks? I feel like we're practically speechless up here. This is like a game of soccer, like just seeing them falling left and right. I have to say, this is one of the most exciting games of lacrosse I've ever seen, with such a disparate, you know, scoreboard.
Absolutely. And Luke Dumont, who's usually a sort of unicorn for this Cal-Berkeley offense, I mean, he can do so much, and he's just been stifled time and time again. Had 8 shots in that last game, and in his career, he causes turnovers, he gets ground balls, but he's just been reverted back into a horse so far this one, and it's all because of this Chapman defense.
Now what can Berkeley do here? Working from the X, trying to find his connection. We see the incredible number 24 trying to work even further, swinging it back around.
Up and inside with it now is Connor Testa. Testa gives it out. Seems like a big play has to be incoming for Berkeley. Putting up 1 point in a lacrosse game would be insane from a team who's had this much success in the last 12 years under Ned Webster. All the way out to Connor Testa once again. The shot clock's at 4-3, gotta put something up. Nothing there, didn't see the clock. Panthers ball. Once again, that was 90 seconds of defensive pressure. Wow.
That whole time there, it really just felt like, you know, Berkeley's offense was really just winding up, getting ready to put something crazy up on the board, but unfortunately not able to convert again. You know, I feel like we have been seeing some great improvements from Berkeley, but mostly in the defensive realm since they've returned from this halftime. We've been seeing how Wilson has been stepping it up with those saves, and seeing how those defensemen have been having better blocks, but still with that 1 point up on the board since returning from halftime.
Holden Walker gave the hush celebration after that spin move. And the Panthers back in attacking position. 54 seconds on the shot clock. Starting with it is Ethan Roselli. Roselli, another spin move, gonna try it and gets it! Roselli with the hat trick!
An incredible shot from Ethan Roselli, the midfield sophomore, the transfer. Oh my God, just right here from Tustin, California. Ethan Roselli with that hat trick, 3 on the board for him tonight. And you know, I feel like he's just somebody who we can't stop talking about. He's one of those prospects that, you know, really is just making such a difference in Chapman Lacrosse already with this just being in the first game of action.
If it wasn't 65 degrees and everyone was wearing hats, you would see them rain down on the field as Ethan Roselli, first hat trick in his career, blocked and taken away by Chapman. Have to reset here. Nice defensive pressure by some of these defenders, and a little high was that pass. Cal-Berkeley has to put up something soon. There's no time to kill clock. There is no time to reset. You have to find the right play. Whatever call sheet that Ned Webster has been hiding, he needs to find it. Build the right play and build it quickly. If they're not able to do that soon, they're going to have a lot of tape to look at before their game against Northeastern.
That game against Northeastern will be Sunday. Oh my gosh, this is going to be such an interesting matchup, but you know, right here, still looking at this matchup here tonight, I feel like, you know, we've been seeing how Berkeley is just trying to, you know, they've been steadily improving, but still, even with all these improvements that they're making within this game, still nothing up on the board is just shocking at this point as we see a flag flying high, 2 flags flying high. What a game of so many different penalties.
And there's so much firepower. Joel Callis not happy with that call, not happy with giving up another substitution, and a beautiful, beautiful pass and a block once again by Ryan Sugart. So many players stepping up.
And after that incredible block, just got a note, practically like laundry on the field with how many flags are out there. Just so remarkable. This game has just been, you know, so aggressive, just with such power and passion. You know, Berkeley's really trying to fight for it, and Chapman's trying to fight for, you know, trying to prove those preseason standings incorrect, as right now we see Berkeley is winding up, getting ready to take a shot.
As you see there, sophomore Ben Bauman, a CSBN member himself, has checked into the game on defense. Help to try to contain Berkeley to their 1 point. As you saw there, Joel Callis so unhappy with giving up that penalty. He was almost screaming at his players on the sideline. And that's just how you see, even up 8-1, you want to get your fundamentals. You want to win every game, make every possession count, and you see the passion in Joel Callis in his 4th year.
I completely agree with you, Holden. Losing that passion is something that you cannot have as a lacrosse coach, and Callis has stayed so strong, so true, as you know, his passion for lacrosse, graduating from Chapman in 2007 from the lacrosse program. You know, Joel Callis is just such an incredible, you know, really centerpiece of this program that, you know, I feel like the program would really be lost without him.
Could not agree more. Berkeley just looking for anything, just putting something up, turning around, blocked by the long stick midfielder. Another shot, 17 seconds inside, second one, and another deflection by Ryan Sugart.
Looked like Berkeley just tried to, you know, really switch up the move there as he just, you know, hit the ball on the ground quickly, but unfortunately still Berkeley not able to connect. What is Ryan Sugart doing? Is it just that, you know, pure talent he has, or, you know, is he really stepped up his game? As I mean, you know, in his freshman season, he had 199 saves, which is absolutely insane. And Ryan Sugart, like you were saying, Holden, is, you know, could be playing at D1 level, but here he is at Chapman, just, you know, such a shining star of this program.
Absolutely, as you saw there, bad pass by Berkeley. Chapman just has another chance to extend their lead. And they're going to try to kill as much clock as possible. The last thing you want is to give up a couple more goals and make this game a little bit closer in favor of the Bears. And if the Bears lose this one, they'll be starting 0-2. That is unseen territory for this team. So much success over the last decade. Chapman has found Cal-Berkeley's weaknesses, and they have taken advantage of every hole in their defense.
And I feel like Chapman's also had so many different opportunities. Well, you know, of course, we've been seeing Chapman's been drawing their fair share of flags as well. But I feel like, you know, Chapman's been definitely getting some breaks with, you know, just some errors that we've been seeing from the Cal-Berkeley side. But, oh, right there, we're seeing Nico Orsino coming in hot with the slash move. But, you know, Chapman, I feel like, has been able to, you know, get more of those penalties out of Berkeley than vice versa.
Another save by Ryan Sugart. That one was taken away by Owen Pettis, I believe, who ran it all the way down. Passed it inside, nothing there. And now Chapman. This defense has showed up, and showed up big time.
Really taking time now, just trying to soak up the clock, it seems. Or players just trying to figure out, you know, what's going on. Now the ball's coming back into action.
Back into action indeed, starting with Tate Wardell. A guy I want to see get another goal in this second half, along with freshman Brody Champion. Wardell with the goal, he's a freshman. Champion with the goal, he's a freshman. Second one would make it all the better. All the way back outside. You just have to think that this is some players' first experiences playing college lacrosse. So exciting as that one bounces, not there for Holden Walker.
What an incredible game all around. And like you said, Holden, just speaking about how a lot of these players are having these, you know, the first game of college lacrosse, a lot of the players having their first game of college lacrosse at Chapman. So, you know, just such a dynamic game all around. So what a special one to have for so many of these players.
Yeah, I think this is back-to-back weeks where Ned Webster has seen so much weakness in this offense. I think defense still has done a good job. I think Chapman is just that much better of an offense. But this Cal-Berkeley offense within the next couple weeks has to find ways to put points on the board consistently, as that pass way too high. Berkeley defender gets on it.
But even in that last game just against Cal Poly, you know, we saw they just lost by 1 point.
And there's the second goal of the night for Cal-Berkeley with the leadership of Connor Testa. It's 2-8 game, 3 minutes left in the quarter.
Able to just squeak that one away. It looked like Sugart didn't even know that it was coming towards him. It seemed it just, you know, quickly rolled at him right there. Seemed like it just really caught everybody by surprise on the defensive end for Chapman.
And I think that was sort of a little bit of a defensive collapse. Chapman just, I think, had a little bit too many players in the middle, too many angles for this defense to keep track of. And of course, Connor Testa taking advantage as Chapman wins the faceoff. Rare moves as number 4, Anthony Mills, has to contain this ball. Bouncing back out to the defensive side of the field. Gonna let the offense handle it, and substitutions coming in. Number 44, Carvalho, heading in as well as number 39, Brody Bame.
Anthony Mills was just getting slashed left and right by those Berkeley offensive defensemen, But now here we are, Chapman is stepping back up, ready to score once again as we see Jack Cutler coming in with aggression.
And Enderle is back, getting, I believe, his first playing time of the game. Chapman way high, unable to get that ball back. Chapman got a reset on defense. 2 minutes, 10 seconds here on the sidelines. Don't tire out now. It's exactly what both teams need to be thinking about. In any blowout win, you can't let any team go on a run. Cal-Berkeley looking for back-to-back goals. If they're able to set up their offense in scoring position,
Berkeley now with a bit more confidence after that second goal, after such a dry streak, making that one about midway through the first quarter. But, now midway through the third quarter, finally able to make their second goal. But now we're seeing, they're able to make some of those longer catches, just really doing their best to try and get it in quickly, trying to shake up Chapman at this point in the game.
Brower thought he might have had a lane there. Phineas DeGuyer gives it back out to his attackers. DeGuyer thought he could make a shot there. Didn't settle for it. Berkeley gonna have to reset. Nice shutter step, but not able to capitalize. Number 5, Luke Dumont. Luke Dumont, the unicorn, drills it. Back-to-back goals for California.
Look at this, folks. We just were talking about it, that Berkeley right now is getting a little bit more pep in their step, figuring out their basic, perfect routes in order to get it in against the Chapman goal. Right now, Berkeley's finally able to figure things out just a little bit more. And right now, after getting the confidence, their second goal, there we go. Dumont up with the third goal of the night. Now, still Chapman up, 8-3.
Dumont, another just really solid angle. And head coach Joel Callis on the Panthers side just cannot be happy with how this defense has let some of these balls slip by in back-to-back possessions. 8 points is a solid amount, but 5 points can be scored in a quarter. We saw it in the first quarter by the Panthers. Cannot let Berkeley go on any sort of run. Joel Callis will not stand for it.
Now that Berkeley's finally finding their footing a little bit, it's going to be interesting to see what Chapman's going to do differently, if anything, to try and defend against, what now that we're seeing is really coming out of Berkeley.
Luke Dumont going to make sure Chapman can't get another one on the board. 25 seconds on the game clock. It's going to run it down right until about 18 seconds. And driving inside, Dumont all the way back out. Nothing there for number 32, Connor Testa. Testa inside. Nothing there, fighting for it. 5 seconds, 4, and it's going to be Chapman's ball to end the third quarter.
What an incredible third quarter of action, as now we're finally seeing Berkeley, beginning to figure things out in this game. As Chapman has just had this incredible powerhouse lead this entire game, but now, maybe it was some of those strategies they were finally starting to figure out in the locker room during halftime under the great direction of Coach Webster. But, now we're seeing Berkeley is ready to really get up in this game.
And sometimes it takes a game or a game and 3 quarters to get into position that Cal-Berkeley is in, finally finding out how to run their offense against this Chapman defense. And then, of course, Chapman still cannot discount what they did in that first half. They're probably going to go on to win this game unless Cal-Berkeley's able to put together a 5, maybe nothing run, unless this Chapman Panthers defense really needs to crumble for that to happen. But, man, I just want to give all the credit to Luke Dumont to put that third goal on the board. I think that was a crucial one for Cal-Berkeley to really feel like they can settle back into this game and not feel rushed in trying to get these goals on quickly. And I think Chapman is going to have another tall task. Do have to limit Berkeley in every sense of the word. And then Chapman maybe just put up a couple more goals, secure this win, deliver the dagger, and send California back to Berkeley.
I completely agree. And, of course, we cannot neglect to mention some of the 2 most powerhouse players that we've seen from Chapman so far in this game. The remarkable Ryan Sugart, who, just time and time again, has kept so far for most of the game Berkeley only to one goal. Now coming in with the 3 goals that they have. So Ryan Sugart's just doing an incredible job in this game so far. And then, of course, Ethan Roselli now with the hat trick. These 2 have just been some of the biggest powerhouses of this team, but what has been so great about the Chapman team is that so many of them are getting those points up on the board. So many of them are getting great, great different moves, great playing time. So I feel like this has been an all-around great game for the Chapman team.
And we have to remember that Roselli, this is his Ethan Roselli, he's coming off the bench. We have to remember that this is a 10 these are 10 starters on this team. He is coming off the bench with a hat trick as Berkeley able to secure the first faceoff of the fourth quarter.
Berkeley coming in hot. You know, they've really been able to amp up that fire, and now we're seeing it here as, you know, they're moving with more efficiency and more, it looks like a lot more defined routes. So I think that's definitely something that Webster was trying to polish up during those breaks, and we're seeing that, the effects of that really now on the field.
Solid move from number 22, Morgan Brower. Brower, another nice step inside, not there. Well, good defense by number 23, Ryan Sugart. Sugart signaling, trying to get this defense to get this ball back into offensive position and driving up inside.
Sugart able to continue just being that strong wall of defense that we've been seeing this whole game and continuing to not allow too many goals from the Berkeley side.
13 minutes for Cal-Berkeley to put up some more goals. Chapman, again, just going to try to milk this clock as much as possible. Just have to avoid some of those slashes that are definitely coming for the Panthers. Amazing step, almost gets it. A beautiful save by Jack Wilson. But so much power as Berkeley has an opportunity.
Now we're seeing, look at how quickly these substitutions are being made. Players are just running and scrambling, trying to find their formations to, you know, just get as many opportunities to score for both sides as possible right now, as it's really just, you know, a fiery game at this point.
And Owen Pettis back in the game. Luke Dumont back in the game. This is the offense that they need, and a point that they need at the hands of number 6, Nate Fredericks. His first goal of the season.
That was incredible. Number 6, Nate Fredericks, doing his incredible work. The legend out of Piedmont High School in Oakland, California. And, you know, he just has so many awards and honors under his belt. You know, the 2024-2025 First Team All-Conference Attack, 2025 Honorable All-Mention Attack, All-America Attack. And, you know, yeah, here he is with his first goal of the season. We've been waiting for this, Holden. We've been excited to see what he's going to do in this game, and he's finally done it. Nate Fredericks really proving to show up for Berkeley at this point in the game, now making it half the score of Chapman.
Yeah, putting together a solid case for being a starting attacker for years to come. Just needs to start finding his consistency, and of course empowering his team with his leadership for what could be 2 losses to start the season. Substituting in is number 48, Keegan Charapoom.
Really wonder how the rest of this game is going to shape up for Chapman, as now we're seeing, you know, Berkeley is coming back up. That, you know, Chapman was just gliding for most of the game with a pretty sizable lead, but now we're seeing Berkeley coming in with fire.
Yeah, Tate Wardell gets his second, the freshman, once again striking. And oh my goodness, 9-4 Panthers. Tate Wardell, his first collegiate game, 2 goals. This Panthers offense looks stunning.
I was just asking, you know, how the Chapman Panthers are going to be responding to this newfound, you know, fire from Berkeley. And there we go, the second one for Tate Wardell. It's, you know, that new power that Chapman has on their team is exactly how they're going to navigate around that.
Yeah, Jack Wilson, as you saw there, just not happy with how his defense has been protecting him tonight. Saw such a strong effort from him in his first game. I think for both these goalies, I think the goals that they've given up is mainly due to their defensemen rather than the goalies themselves. I think they've performed great, and I think your defense will tell you the same thing. They will never blame their goalie. If there's anything to do to limit a potential goal, this defense and these goalies will do it.
I agree. It's just, you know, the incredible force that we've been seeing from both teams in that area, but remarkably Chapman, is it looks like, yeah, a lot is going on here, just trying to find that network in the backfield, really trying to figure out how to set up that foundation as we're seeing Chapman coming in hot around the side of the X.
Just nice ball movement. Roselli's just waiting right outside that crease, up and inside. Here's Champion. Champion gonna try to find the same move that led to that Tate Wardell point, but nothing there.
champion trying to be the champion in this game. You know, he's just so incredible so far as we've been seeing. You know, he's been working so great from, you know, all around, all points of the goal. And here we are.
Now, almost didn't catch that one. This offense continuing to light up Ernie Chapman Stadium on the first game of the year.
So remarkable just how this team has been moving, and you know, just the brotherhood of this whole Chapman men's lacrosse team is so incredible to watch, how they're all able to be there for one another and continue to support each other through, you know, just putting more points up on the board. As we see that great shot was made, just sweeping around behind the back technique right there.
That was Nico Orsino, I believe, as Berkeley just continues to secure these face-offs. Need to make something happen here. Chapman with 10 points on the board. And their ball once again. Again, these high passes just seem to be a really consistent issue for Berkeley. It's almost something that you can't even teach. The power in your swing. And pardon, it was Jack Cutler on that last goal. Just everybody on this Chapman squad knows how to score, knows how to find the back of the net.
And Jack Cutler's been someone that, you know, we've been really waiting to see when he's going to convert to get a point up on the board. And he just did, as we see some incredible defense right there from Berkeley on Tate Wardell. Anthony Mills coming up quickly behind.
That was Owen Pettis, I believe, that forced that one. Chapman happy with how that possession shook up. Chapman another chance to continue to extend their lead. For a second there, we really thought that Cal-Berkeley could put together some nice drives, but since then, this Chapman offense has continued to find a way to score. The substitutions coming in. Number 12 for Berkeley back out, and Holden Walker back in this game, looking to get his second goal. Everybody has been eating well tonight.
I agree, and that just, you know, goes back to that point of how Cal's likes to, you know, pretty evenly split up his talent, because, you know, this is just truly a team with so much talent at Chapman, where, you know, all of these players really have so much they can add to this game. So it's just so beautiful to see how they're able to really put it all together in this game here tonight.
These attackers almost forced Berkeley into a tough position there in that upper left corner. Here's Berkeley, ready for the moment. Starting with it was number 44, Phineas DeGuyer. Substitutions coming in. Jake Escobar back in this game at that midfielder position. Facilitate this offense. Up inside, the block is good, and a long stick too high.
That's the definition of one of those great, you know, high and long passes that we've been seeing from Berkeley. Just, you know, it's really about that accuracy that has really been one of their biggest points of contention during this game and one of their biggest struggle points, but hopefully they can improve on it in the last 9 minutes of this game.
Yeah, Berkeley just needs to find something soon. I mean, it's almost to the point where you want to try out new lineups, but maybe you give it a couple more minutes to see if you can put anything on the board. And leading the charge is number 0 on Berkeley. Too high, way too far. So many passes, just too high. It's too high. That's been the common issue for Berkeley.
I think, you know, maybe they're just trying to go too high to try to avoid any sort of ground ball situation. I don't really know. It's just so interesting as we see now a couple more people on the ground. This has been, I feel like, yeah, definitely a very physical game of lacrosse that we've been seeing here tonight. Of course, very entertaining, but, you know, just very hard to tell what has been going on in this game.
Yeah, really tough for Cal-Berkeley. I mean, you have so much material to work with in your next practice before Northeastern, which is only in a couple of days. So Berkeley just needs to find something that works soon, because this offense just cannot function scoring between 4 and 6 a game like we've seen.
Chapman trying to find more foundation in the back of the offensive zone here as Walker passes it on over
To Ethan Roselli. Be so awesome to see another Ethan Roselli goal. 4th for him.
Berkeley's now amping it up on the defense, trying their best to just limit Chapman as much as they can right now, as that almost got in. Wilson was able to ward away that one.
Yeah, good thinking by Brody Champion. I think that was the right shot there. Just a little bit too high and a little bit to the left. But Brody Champion, I mean, we've seen that power already in his stick. He's got so much of it. And turning outside, here's number 17, Nico Orsino. Delivers inside. Champion gets blocked by Jack Wilson. Champion almost looked like he had that for a second. Just delivered right into the stick of Jack Wilson.
That's the thing, is that Wilson is, really able to get craftier in the way he's able to have those saves. And that's what's been, one of the biggest points in, the second half of the third period and coming into this fourth is what's really been, Wilson being able to just have stronger saves as a goalie.
More substitutions coming. I think for Chapman, I mean, what you look at going out of this game, I mean, Joel Callis is not a coach where you win a game, you party hard, and then you hope you can mimic that same effort. I mean, we've seen it just as Chapman's been able to sort of pull away in this game. Joel Callis is going to have a lot to look at, and I think one thing that they could really improve is how they structure their defense. I think the couple points that we've seen given up have just come on defensive collapses. And I think part of that could be due to some of these new players filtering in. But I think as long as they're able to strengthen that, this team can beat almost any team in their conference. And we'll see that coming up soon in the next couple weeks.
I agree. It's really going to be about that grit that Chapman will continue to have as they go into their next few games and just really continue out the season. But what a way this would be to start the season. Winning that scrimmage at San Marcos 2 weeks ago and, potentially winning this game, that would really set their spirits high coming into the season after seeing those pretty dismal preseason projections.
Tate Wardell takes the shot. Would have been his 3rd goal. It's off to the left. Only 5 minutes left on this clock. Wouldn't be surprised to see Cal-Berkeley try out some new faces. And there's a couple good ones to try out. As Chapman tries it inside, wanting it again. Was number 6, Tate Wardell. Not there. He's going to have a lot of time to settle in. 2 goals as a freshman is already pretty staggering, so can't knock him too much.
2 goals as a freshman in his first appearance in collegiate lacrosse. How much, more amazing can you get at that point? Tate Wardell just making such a remarkable first appearance in this game.
Yeah, and I think we're nitpicking a little bit in favor of Chapman. I mean, what this offense has been able to accomplish in this game, just the star power that they found in their new players, I mean, it cannot be understated. I think Berkeley, with this defense that really held Cal Poly to only 7 points, Chapman with 10 so far, I think you really have to give all the credit to this offense for Chapman.
I agree. And, yeah, we've been complimenting Chapman left and right, but, we have seen such talent with Berkeley as well, with, Fredericks able to get that goal in and Dumont able to score for himself. So many great players on this Berkeley team as well. Just, it's just been pure magic to see what Chapman's been able to provide on this field here tonight.
A little bit too much physicality there for number 5, Luke Dumont. Timeout here.
Announcer's curse right there. I was just talking about Luke Dumont and his incredible last goal for Berkeley, but yeah, coming off that little bit of aggression there coming into this timeout. It's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen in these just next few minutes of action to close out this game. So, Holden, what do you feel like Berkeley can really do at this point? We've seen how they're trying to switch up their strategies, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what last-ditch efforts they're going to have to try and change the scoreboard in any way.
I mean, at this point, you don't have time before tomorrow. You play against Northeastern at home at 3 p.m. tomorrow. You have the drive back tonight, and you have a couple hours in practice to work out some of these kinks. Because I think at this point, you try out new faces, you try out players just to see the field, make sure they're ready for when their moment comes, because right now you have to start thinking about your game, back-to-back game tomorrow on Valentine's Day at 3 p.m.
I agree. Those are definitely great points. And, just that quick turnaround is what's going to be incredible for Berkeley to master. Whereas, Chapman playing Northwestern on Sunday, it's going to be great to see that turnaround and see, it is Northeastern, 1 p.m. at home this Sunday, have a little bit more time to recuperate, no matter what the score is, and figure out, of course, how you can constantly be improving. Chapman does have a bit more time on that, whereas unfortunately, Berkeley is in a bit of a, more challenging position to have such a quick turnaround.
Joel Callis has to start looking at this team and start thinking to himself, this team might have a chance to take another SLC title. I mean, he has all the pieces. Now over the next couple of weeks, it's going to be how can they assemble them together and create meaningful lacrosse within this program.
I agree. It's going to be interesting to see, what Joel Callis is going to do. And, of these incredible, playmakers that we've been seeing so far in this game, who he's really going to be focusing on coming into the rest of the season, Is it going to be Wardell, Roselli, Champion, who of these new faces is he really going to be, trying to see how they can implement more of their strategies in this game?
Absolutely. I think when you're talking about sophomore goalkeeper Ryan Sugart, for any offense, it's sort of like eating broccoli. You don't want to do it, but when you're a kid, you're going to have to eat that broccoli. And I think every team should be dreading Ryan Sugart, considering just how he stifles these opposing offenses. And he's been doing it for his last however many 13 games.
I agree. Ryan Sugart, just, an absolute force to be reckoned with. Just, we can't just speak about how great he is enough. As we see, Carvalho was just running for that ball, but was unable to get there in time as Berkeley scooping it up, trying to see what they can do in these last few moments of action to try to get as many points up on the board as possible.
And it looks like Chapman's going to keep in a lot of their starters for these last couple of minutes, trying to build continuity within their offense and defense. Make sure there's no late game heroics from Cal-Berkeley. Here's Owen Pettis outside, driving inside. Nothing there. I think we've seen that so much. So much hesitation coming. No hesitation on that one. Jake Escobar drills it.
What an incredible shot from Jake Escobar, the senior from Woodside, California, who in his last season had 7 goals and 24 ground balls. So Jake Escobar, he is, no stranger to the scoreboard there. As we see right now, he's just, put up another incredible shot for the Golden Bears, and he's just such a good player in this game here tonight.
Yeah, I think Ryan Sugart just found himself sort of on his butt there. Nothing he could do. And just adding to his great start to the season is Jake Escobar. Chapman's got to find a way to keep this ball with them. Only 3 minutes on the clock. These wide passes. Keep it out of reach. Let's keep away. Hot potato for the Panthers defense. Just trying to stay far away from any opposing sticks. Just killing time.
Chapman just, as you were just saying, Holden, trying to milk the clock as much as possible. As they have, 80 seconds in that shot clock. So they have a good amount of time to work with, and just trying to, it's like in those, last few downs when, you're far ahead in a game of football, just got to snap the ball a few times and call it a game. So it seems like that's what Chapman's trying to do right now.
Absolutely. Inside up and good. Continuing. Adam McDonald, our pre-game interview, gets and finds Twine. Our key player, Adam McDonald, puts another one on the board for the Panthers.
We have been waiting for some of those strong attackers to get one up on the board for each of them. And now we see Jack Cutler and Adam McDonald both with one up on the board for them so far this game. Just look at this shot, folks, how he's able to just swivel it around in that crafty little swing. Great job to Adam McDonald, able to employ great communication right over the shoulder of Wilson.
I think with that overhead shot, it's so easy to overshoot that. But Adam McDonald, with great stick awareness, just knowing exactly where the goal is and exactly where he should release that ball. And there's a big flag coming in. Honestly, I think killing time at the end of a lacrosse game could be a sport in and of itself. I think you're going to see when Chapman gets the ball back, if they end up getting it back within the last couple minutes, you're going to see a lot of big, long passes. Berkeley really just fighting for their dignity here, being down 6 scores with 2 minutes left on the clock.
It's the same struggle we've been seeing all game for Berkeley right now. As you know, we see that these long passes just continue to be had time and time again. As we see at this point in the game, number 35, Ben Bauman, is stepping back in. The sophomore from Hood River, Oregon, ready to try and get some, great shots on the board for himself.
Yeah, and I have to just credit Ben Bauman so much. He's been teaching us commentators all the ins and outs of this Panther squad so far this season. What he's been seeing in practice, such a great perspective to have as a team here at CSBN. It's Berkeley trying to put one more up on the board, get their offense back in working condition before their game against Northeastern. Hesitated that one, might try it long. Nice defensive pressure from Russell Wilkinson. Haven't said his name too much. And an open lane, a little high. Minute 28 on the clock.
It's a great point, Holden. Russell Wilkinson, even though, he was in that starting lineup of being, one of the wings, has just really flown under the radar in this game. Maybe his efforts were just, maybe he's been moving in silence this game. But, Russell Wilkinson, just now we're really seeing him start to emerge, more in those powerhouse moves.
Yeah, that's that long stick midfielder play. I think he's been doing more on defense than what we have seen, considering Cal held to only 5 goals. Long one, and it's good. The 6th goal of the night for Berkeley, coming at the hands of number 44, Phineas DeGuyer.
Right after we see Berkeley is just basically doing cartwheels down the field right before that play, just got tripped up. Right there it is. There's that cartwheel right as, they were getting ready to set up shop for that play. And there it is, folks. Another one on the board for them, trying to inspire a bit more hope at this point in the game.
I think if there's any way you can beat Ryan Sugar, it's just by those bounce goals to catch him off guard. I think he's so good when he's upright, but when he tries to think a little bit lower, that's the way you have to exploit him, as Berkeley unable to win that faceoff. All the way back out to Nico Orsino. Gonna kill some clock here. 50 seconds. Gonna do some cardio to end the night. Not too much, as Chapman also plays Northeastern at home on Sunday. It's going to be an interesting one to watch as a fan. Cal-Berkeley versus Northeastern the day before Chapman has to play Northeastern on Sunday. So it's going to be a clinic to see which team can come on top with a 2-0 record in that game, or in this case, 1-2 if Berkeley's able to seal that one away.
We see the Chapman fans are starting to file out of the stands here, calling it a game as the shot clock remains entirely in the hands of the Chapman Panthers right now, just running around. Little whistle was just blown.
Yeah, 9 seconds to kill. They're going to let this one run out. And Chapman, what a win. Storming the field are the Panthers. A new look and new life for this Panthers lacrosse program. The combined leadership between Joe Callis, the free agents that they've brought in from around the Irvine area, and of course these freshmen making a name for themselves within the lacrosse landscape. Oh my goodness. So many players activating. As you see that camaraderie, that's going to be a theme all season. This is a tight, knit team. I think we're going to see a lot more wins to come for the Panthers.
Just what an incredible game overall, Holden. We really see, I think it was just great on both sides how, despite, of course, those preseason rankings, that Chapman was able to really have that fire and have such great all-around teamwork, just attack, midfield, defense. Everybody was able to really show up for one another and for the team to really spread the wealth and get lots of points up on the board for some of those senior players and also for some of those new players who are transfers and freshmen. And of course for Berkeley, I think some of their greatest strong points is how they were able to really improve throughout the game. They were able to see how, Chapman was able to really put up that fire so close to the end, to the goal, and how they were able to figure out how to defend against that, and Wilson was able to work on those saves. So I think both of these teams really shaped up to be a pretty good game of lacrosse here tonight.
110%. I was almost expecting it to be a little bit closer just with how these teams sort of mirrored each other last season. So we're taking a look at some of these full game highlights. We saw that a lot. Those face-offs tended to go Berkeley's way until the end of that game. And there is number 2, Ethan Roselli, putting it in. Ethan Roselli really making a name for himself on this roster. He's going to earn that starting gig probably for the rest of the season after that standout performance. And there's that beautiful hammer by number 32, Connor Testa.
Absolutely could not agree more with what you were just saying about Ethan Roselli. I think he's really snaked that spot of this being in that starting lineup. As right here, we're seeing some of those great scores from both of these teams right here. Yeah, I loved how, I feel like Chapman really utilized the behind the back techniques for a lot of these shots. I feel like that's what was some of their best work here for being in this game, and, trying to match up and just sneak around Berkeley with, seeing what great work they've been able to put up in their first game against Cal-Poly and also last season. Chapman got crafty.
And Chapman just has to be happy with how this game played out, especially after their 12-10 loss to Berkeley last season. They played that game away, but a lot of these players definitely remember that loss. It was one that they learned so much from, and I think going into this season, first game of the year, you're playing an opponent that's not a conference rival, but still a rival in a sense, along with UCLA and USC, of course.
I just think it's so great that, those seniors who had that 1-2 record against Berkeley so far, that now they're having a 2-2 record, just another win against Berkeley under their belt for their collegiate lacrosse career. So that's so incredible that, seniors like Nico Ursino and Shandon Hanamoto can have that experience and come off of those wins against Berkeley.
Absolutely. Now moving on to the man, the myth, the legend, Ethan Roselli, our MVP of the night, our very own Michael Herrera, here to interview him.
Thank you, guys. I'm here with our MVP of the game, number 2, Ethan Roselli. First of all, Ethan, congrats on the win. An incredible game for you tonight. A hat trick, 3 goals scored. What was your mindset going into this one, and how did it progress throughout the night?
I just have some fun, hanging with the fellas. Great Friday night. As I progressed, I just saw 25 couldn't guard me. I just took him to the rack.
Congrats, man. Hey, and you mentioned having fun with the fellas. This is one of the most vocal, one of the most passionate group of guys I've been around. How do you guys foster that tight-knit of a group?
We compete every day at practice. We get better. Like all of them I love. Their dedication to the game, I love it.
To open up 26 with a statement win like this, winning 11-6 against Cal, what does that mean for you guys going forward and for the rest of your season?
I think it's setting a precedent that we need to continue doing this throughout the year, and we have the ability to do it.
Ethan, congrats, man. Go celebrate. Enjoy the win.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you guys for your time. An electric game, of course. 11-6 the final. Chapman will be back this Sunday at 1 p.m. to face Northeastern. Holden, Lindsay, for you guys' final comments. I've enjoyed being your sideline commentator for tonight. Mike Herrera signing off.
Thank you so much, Mike. We've seen so much passion, and Michael Herrera got to experience it firsthand on that sideline. Any closing remarks, Lindsay, on this 11-6 victory for the Panthers?
I would say just, what a great game overall. And I'm just so happy to see, this Chapman team really find their footing in this game and really just show, that Coach Callis is able to just meld these different, groups of people, transfers, freshmen, senior leaders all together in order to be a team that really works well together. And I just think this has just been such a great game overall. So great to see these, younger players shine and rise to the top in this game.
Absolutely. My name is Holden Buckley. I've been your play-by-play commentator for tonight, joined by Lindsey Johnson. Remember to tune in tomorrow to the doubleheader, men's and women's basketball versus Laverne. Both teams looking towards the playoffs this late in the season. Thank you for tuning in. This has been CSBN's coverage of Chapman versus Cal-Berkeley men's lacrosse.